It's not as hard as what you think it is. I know it's scary to have $200,000-$300,000 debt in your name, but it's not. You're gonna pay rent somewhere. You know, you're gonna have to pay somewhere. So you might as well pay towards owning your own place. But it really isn't that hard. I'm kind of numb to it because I've been doing it for a while. So if I'm a little relaxed about it, that's probably why. I know it's a little scary doing it yourself, but or going through it, but it's not that difficult as long as you have the right team together. You can kind of do it on your own, but it's better to have somebody guide you along the way, a real estate agent. But we're going to talk about how to find one and all that kind of stuff. So first thing is, like, are you mentally ready to be a homeowner, to buy a home, or to at least start looking for one? You start hearing your friends and your neighbors and all that talk about, oh, my aunt bought a house, my mom just bought a house, and it just kind of gets in your head, hey, I should probably start looking towards owning my own property, and it starts from there. So first thing you gotta do is talk to a lender or your bank / mortgage broker. So I'm gonna use the word lender and bank interchangeably. They mean the same thing. So when I say that, that's what it is. So first thing that you're gonna have to do is get your. The lender's gonna say, hey, let's run your credit, see where you're at. Unless you have all cash and you can buy whatever you want, you're gonna have to go through a bank. So I'm talking in terms of having get a mortgage. So your lender's gonna ask you, hey, let's do a credit check, see where you're at, and then your lender's gonna say, hey, you're good or you're not. So,
what like for them, what is credit? Like, what are they looking at? Like, what kinds of things are gonna be on their credit report that's gonna help?
So like the most important thing is gonna be that FICO score. Generally, they like to see 620 or higher. You can go down to 580. It becomes a little bit more difficult, not impossible, just a little bit difficult to get a loan for a home. When it's under 620, when your credit score is under 620, but that's kind of the magic number. As long as it's 620 or higher, it's no problem after that. So let's go with, let's say you talk to a lender and they say, hey, you're not ready. They're gonna say, okay, what he's gonna say, or they're gonna tell you, you need a fix. You need to pay down some credit cards. Maybe you owe too much. Maybe your income to debt ratio it's way off. They want to see somewhere like 50% income to debt ratio. So you're gonna have to basically make 50% more than what you're paying every month. Is kind of the magic number. It varies from lender to lender, but that's kind of like a base. So if you make $3,000 a month, they're gonna want you to not be paying more than $1,500 a month. You can get a little bit more than that, but it just depends on the situation and the lender as well. It's a little bit different. So for sure, you got to keep up with your credit. You got to pay all your bills on time. Make sure if you got any college loans out, you have to make sure you're on time. If you stumbled in the past on those, as long as you have a little track record of that you caught up or you're paying them, then it's not a problem. But that one for sure is a big one. Medical bills, depending on the lender, they might frown upon if you haven't paid them. It just depends again on who you're going to for your loan. Work history, that's a big one for sure. They want to see at least 2 years of solid work history in the same field if possible. Doesn't have to be in the same field. You can be work in the medical field and then you're I don't know, you work at a HEB or something, for a year later. As long as it's solid, they'll make it work. As long as it's kind of similar pay as well, if it's not the same field. But that one's a big one. So they're gonna want to know about how much you have to put down for a house. And to buy a house, generally it's 3.5% of whatever the house costs. So we're just gonna say 100,000. You can't buy nothing for 100,000 anymore, but we're just gonna say 100,000. So you'd be putting down 3,500 for a down payment. Now that, you don't have to have it. You can actually get a gift from a family member, a friend or something to help you purchase a house. It's totally fine. Each lender, like I said, is gonna be a little bit different, but most of them accept gifts from family members, as long as they can trace where it's coming from. Criminal background, if you've, I talked to a lender actually a few days ago, and I asked him about one of my tenants wanted to buy one of my properties. So they have a felony in their history, and I thought it was gonna be a deal breaker, but they said no, as long as it's not like some kind of extortion or some kind of axe murder or something, then you're okay. But you can actually have felonies, which surprised me. But you try to stay away from that as much as possible. Let me see. So let's say you run the credit and the lender says you're good, you're ready to go. First thing they're gonna say is, okay, you make X amount for the year, so you can qualify for X amount of house. And I say you qualify for 300,000. I kind of try to tell people, don't try to go to your limit on your first house, because stuff comes up. You don't want to be at your max monthly payment every month on your first house. Just one of those things. You're gonna want to buy furniture and get real comfortable at your house, and you don't want to risk falling behind, and just not being totally prepared for stuff that could happen. So you gotta factor in your payment, your property taxes, insurance, and of course your utilities. The lender will also take that in consideration when they see how much you qualify for. And during that process, when they say, hey, you're ready to go, the lender's probably gonna tell you, hey, don't go to Rooms to Go and try to get credit on something till after you close, because it can impact your credit score, and then you won't be able to buy a house for a while because it might drop your score down, opening up a new account. So they tell you, don't try to get any credit on a car or anything new. No going to Ulta and Mac and all that stuff and try to open up cards. So let me see. Next thing is, so you have to get you don't have to, I say you can do it on your own, but it's a lot easier to get a real estate professional, whether it's a real estate agent, a realtor, whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. But when you start looking for one, the first thing you should ask is, how long have you been an agent? You want to find out how much experience they have, how many transactions they've completed, and what do they specialize in. Some people are really good at single family houses. Some people are really good at investment properties. You're just gonna have to really ask those questions to make sure that they're the right person for you. Also, like me, I know the SAC area really well. So if somebody said, hey, can you help me find a house here in the area? For sure, I know all the streets and what's close by, what streets are a little bit nicer than others. But that's a big help, depending on what side of town you want to live in, and your lifestyle. So it really that right there makes a big difference. And then also, one of the main things that I like to tell people is how much experience the agent or the realtor has in construction or remodeling. You're walking through your first house. You wanna really make it your own, but I want to change the windows, I want to do this, I want to do that later. That person, if they have experience, is gonna tell you, hey, it's gonna cost you X amount. You're probably gonna need to save this much, or maybe we can use that as a negotiation, or to get a lower price because you're gonna maybe do it in the future, save up some money, and you know, do it later. I want to put all new windows. It's going to cost $10,000. Let's ask the seller to drop the price by $10,000 because, you know, the windows aren't what you want. So that for sure makes a big deal. Makes a big difference for a real estate agent. Most of them don't have any experience in that, which is surprising to me. But you know, you find a good one, they have that kind of knowledge.
It's helpful with the, when they do
The inspection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we talked a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. So you qualify. Your lender says, "Hey, go start looking for houses in your price range." So okay, great. You tell your agent, "Hey, I need 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, a garage, you know, whatever. I need this side of town, this school district," and then you also let them know for sure, "Hey, these are absolute deal breakers. I can't have, you know, the master bedroom upstairs. I can't have, you know, I don't want to live in a cul-de-sac." Those kind of, you know, whatever that you absolutely hate, you gotta let them know so that you're not wasting your time or their time, and you can really focus on stuff that you're really interested in. And then this is one of my personal ones. Everybody calls it hacks now, but like house hacking. You can actually make money living in a house now. So for most first-time home buyers, you're gonna qualify for what's called a FHA loan, and that type of loan, it's at 3.5% down. You gotta put, but you can actually buy a property that has up to 4 units. So you can buy a little apartment complex. You can live in one of them, rent the other 3 out. You know, you can have Airbnb, rent out the other 3. You can make money while they're paying your mortgage down as well. Which, for me, if it was my first time doing it, I would do it, because you're not gonna live in that house, your first home, forever. More than likely, you're not gonna live there past 7 years. So it could turn into an investment property in a few years for you and make some good money. And in a few years, you have a property paid down, and you can get another property, a bigger property with the money you're making from that one down the road. But I would suggest doing that if you're okay still living in an apartment, or if you're okay living in an apartment. But it's an interesting thing to be the landlord. People knocking on your door at 2 in the morning because their toilet's not working or whatever. But if you can handle it, I would suggest it, because it's like I said, it takes the stress off you having a deep reach in your pocket every month to pay your mortgage on your own. But some people cannot handle it. I'm used to it, being a landlord. Let me see. Next thing is, okay. So you give all your information to your agent. You say, "Hey, I need this many baths this side of town." So what they're gonna do is they're gonna make a list together. They're gonna put a list together of properties. They're gonna email them to you and say, "Hey, tell me what you think about these." Of course, yes, no, maybe. The ones that you're really interested in, I like to tell people to before you actually make the appointments, go drive by the property, because some of the pictures look incredible, and then you get out there and it's a totally different world, especially the street it's on. It could be the best house on the worst street, and you know you're gonna waste your time going over there. So I kind of tell people, hey, go drive by there at night so you can see the action, you know, at night as well. But a good agent is gonna tell, when they tell you, hey, when you tell them, I want to live on this area, and they send you a list of properties, and they know a street, if they know the area really well, they're gonna go, you probably don't want to go there, but you know, if you want to go drive by it on your own, by all means. But that's where like the experience is a big deal. But drive by to day and during the night so you can really see what the property's like when you're really interested. When you've already said, okay, I have to absolutely see these properties, then you schedule it with your agent, and then the next step is you show up, You walk the property, hey, this house is incredible, I love the kitchen, the bathroom, whatever, you know. I love the kitchen, I hate the living room. You'll go through that a lot. It'll probably be, the chances of you walking in the first house and you saying, oh, this is the one, are very, very low. So I would suggest you look at a few to really get a feel of the difference in floor plans and sizes of homes. But again, just depending on what you can afford, it'll make a difference in number of bedrooms and square footage, how big the lot is, those kind of, you take all that into consideration when you walk a house. Hey, I love, you know, like I said, I love the kitchen, and then you want to make an offer on the property. So you get with your agent, you say, hey, let's offer $20,000 less to the seller, and then you start preparing to see, hey, let's start negotiating. The seller says no or yes. Normally they're gonna say no. Normally your first offer they're gonna say no, and then you start the negotiation, like the actual negotiation process. After you negotiate for a little bit, then the seller says, okay, deal. You guys sign a contract, an agreement, and one of the first things that comes with the contract is you got to put down what's called an earnest money deposit. Normally it's 1% of the sales price. So if you're buying a $200,000 house, you're going to put down $2,000, and you put down the $2,000, and then also you put down what's called option money, and that option money, normally it's like $10 a day. So it's like between 7 and 10 days that you normally get that option, and that is so you can get an inspector to go inspect the house, make sure it's, you know, not falling apart. But during that time as well, you can back out for any reason. Maybe you fell in love with the house the first day that you walked in there, but after you sign the papers or the contract, you're like, man, I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready. Then you got the option to back out. You've only put down $100 extra, and then you get your initial 1%, your $2,000 back. Whatever you put down, you get it back.
So the option money holds it while you're...
Yeah, you can back out for any reason. For any reason, you drove by at night and you saw how the neighbor put their trash cans outside. You're like, oh, I can't deal with that. No, so you have the option to back out, and you don't lose your actual deposit money. But the option money will be gone. It's usually, like I said, 7 to 10 days that you get. So it'll be $70 to $100 extra on top of the $2,000 that you would put down. And then, so the contract and the earnest and the option money goes to a title company, and they're kind of like the bridge between the buyer and the seller. You leave the contract there, and they say, okay. They go and check the title to make sure that there's no liens. Nothing extra is going to pop up that could prevent the seller from selling the property and giving you a clear title to the property. But after that, the next thing is you get the inspection on the house. No matter if it's a brand new house, there's going to be stuff that comes up on the front. There's going to be something wrong, several things wrong, no matter what it is. But that's a good time to renegotiate. Let's say the plumbing hasn't been updated in 30 years. You go and say, hey, look, the inspector found old pipes that he's suggesting that should be changed soon. Can we take off $5,000 extra or $10,000? You have the report in front of you to show him or to show the seller, and sometimes they say yes. You know, sometimes they say no. Sometimes you just say, okay, instead of $5,000, let's meet in the middle, $2,500. But it's a good. It protects you from all the stuff that's wrong on the property, but it also helps you get a better price or on the property, or it could help you get a better price on the property and come less out of pocket in the on the front end, you know, when you're actually purchasing. So let's say you go through the inspection, you guys, you know, you agree on whatever with the seller, or you don't, or everything's perfect with the house, which never happens, but you get through the inspection, okay. Next thing that's gonna happen is the lender, your bank is gonna say, hey, we're gonna send out a third party to go look at the house, and it's kind of an inspection, but they just wanna assess the value of the property. Let's say you're negotiated to buy the house for $200, they wanna see that it's worth $200,000. They're not gonna get underneath the house and check plumbing and electrical. They just wanna see if what they're lending on is worth it. And that comes with a fee. It's normally anywhere from $400 to $600 depending on the lender, and you have to pay that up front as well. You don't get that back if you decide to back out of that deal for whatever reason. And it doesn't go towards the purchase of the home. It's just something an extra fee that the lender requires that you pay, but it's to protect them, their loan, and then you as well. Because if you get the house under contract for $200,000 and the appraiser goes out there and says this thing's only worth $180, you can use that to renegotiate and get a lower price on the property if it came up in the long run. It makes a big difference as well. But you can definitely use that to your advantage. I've seen crazy appraisals, $50,000 less than what you guys had agreed on, and seller sometimes has no choice to say, okay, let me take the loss, and then, you know, you get a better monthly rate and you get a better price down the road. Let me see. House. So the house, like I said, the appraiser goes out there and says, hey, it's good, it's worth whatever you guys agreed on. So then the next step would be, there's a closing date when you sign the contract with the seller. Hey, you're paying $200,000. There's a date. It's normally 30 to 45 days that the process takes. So that's kind of let's say April 1st, you guys get the house under contract April 1st. You set the closing date for April 30th. So the inspection, appraisal, all that stuff, you usually get it done in about 30 days. Takes a little bit longer sometimes, but generally it's about a month. And then during that time, your bank / your lender is asking you for tax returns, check stubs, bank statements. They do employment verification. They do a little background check as well at that time. But you turn that in, all that stuff. Usually could just email it to them, and it's actually really simple. Some people get frustrated with it because they're working, and the lender, hey, can you send it to me in 3 hours? And you can't get off of work to go home and do that stuff. But it's one of those things where you're constantly going to be asked to give them statements of like bank statements or stuff from your employer. So then while that's going on, the title company's working with the lender, and they're verifying that the owner is who they say they are, and that the title is good to go. If there's anything that comes up, let's say owner owes some kind of, I don't know, like child support, it'll be taken kind of out of the seller's end of the proceeds. But before you close on the property, the title company makes sure that there's nothing crazy on there that can keep you from buying the property. 9 times out of 10, nothing comes up that could stop a transaction, but it's something the title company works with the lender to make sure that when they transfer the title over to the new buyer, that it's all good. Let's see. And then, so step number 8, you're ready. So your lender says, hey, you're clear to close, we're closing in 4 days, 5 days. So you start making your calls to the utilities, to CPS, SAWS, internet. So that way, when the day you move in, when you close, all your utilities can be on, because you don't want to be, for some reason, everybody closes on Friday, and you move in over the weekend, you're gonna have no power, no water, worse, Wi-Fi, no Wi-Fi. So you like to set all that stuff up ahead of time, and then let's say you're closing on a Friday. So what I like to do is I like to do a final walkthrough of the property that Friday morning. Some people like to do it the day before, but I like to do it that same day. And you do that just in case, let's say the house is vacant, somebody decides to break in or something and steal something, tear the place apart. You haven't gone and checked and you sign, it's on you now. So you like to go there, walk it, make sure everything's the way it was when you walked it. And then if it's not, let's say there was a storm, it starts leaking, or there was a storm, a tree fell, it's the seller's responsibility to take care of that before you close. It's part of the contract. So you have to make sure that you do the walkthrough and make sure everything's good, because you don't want to be buying a problem the day that you close on it. So it's very, very important. All the agents suggest you do it, but I like to do it the day of, because anything can happen, in that time.
I closed on one of mine, or was closing on mine, and they took all the blinds, which were supposed to stay, so
Wow.
none of the windows had blinds. They took them all with them, so we had to call and they had to bring them back.
That kind of stuff, yeah. If it's bolted on, if it's screwed on, no matter what it is, it has to stay there. It could be a $50,000 painting that somehow got screwed on there. If it's bolted on, they can't remove it. If you negotiate that ahead of time, hey, I'm taking my curtains, I'm taking my blinds, or I'm taking my microwave or whatever. You negotiate that ahead of time with your buyer. But if it's there when you're doing the walkthrough, it's probably going to stay there. So you take that into consideration when you do your final walkthrough. So after your walkthrough, everything's good to go. You go and go to the title company. You sign your final documents. You bring your down payment with you. It takes about an hour normally. It's 300 papers. It's like this thick. They keep getting bigger for some reason. So many disclosures and legal talk. But it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to sign all the documents. It's crazy. But after that, title company says, okay, you're good to go. Here's your keys, and you get out and you celebrate your new house.